Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live weekly chat. And welcome, and if you've stuck with me through the previous two videos, which I've done back to back to back, it's a back to back to back live chat session. So here I am for the official weekly live chat. I really hope that you've enjoyed the previous two videos. Now I'm going to go and find the chat window, and I hope you've all made it over again to this one. So sorry for all the channel and window live chat hopping, but here we are. Some people saying that their heads are spinning, but there we go. We are here. Oh, and then Betsy says, my head is spinning. Not sure why we need to have three separate chats. It's because I can compartmentalize the difference between the openings of the mail, so that people that want to watch the openings can do that. People that want to look at my rant can see that in a video. So if you haven't checked out my rant and you're watching on catch up, do go and check that out. In fact, I actually watched those three videos in order because they do kind of flow, which is why I did it in that way. And of course, this is the live chat where we talk about all the news and events and everything that's gone on and anything that we want to talk about. So as always, the live chat window is for you to talk to me. Even if you haven't got a question or a comment, or you're not speaking to anyone else on there, just say hello. I really do not mind if you just say hello. I like to say hello. So hello to Jen, Diamond Danae, Duchess of Cambridge, Nina, David, Ingrid, Christine, Vinnie Blair and Donna, and Betsy and Donna Pape, and Jamie, our resident moderator, is in the room tonight. So please do behave. He's really good at modding. Jamie says, that's the new blazer you bought today. It is indeed. And you can't see it here, but it actually has tails. It's like a tailcoat, and it's absolutely amazing. And for those of you who can't see, maybe because the light's too bright, I'm also wearing the Australian wattle brooch, which is the replica of the Queen's, because of Australia Day. So happy Australia Day to everybody in Australia, or even if you're not in Australia, just have a happy day. So it was Australia Day this week, so I'm wearing the wattle brooch. Betsy says, I'm cranky tonight. I have that bad flu. Not the Australian flu. Oh no, we're celebrating Australia Day and you have the Australian flu. That's not good. I really hope you get better, Betsy. Suzanne Collins says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too. Ilma Bar says, two are just his regular videos, not chats. Yes, that's basically what it is. Ingrid says, I'm curious, why does he have to close that window and open another? Because it's a separate video. So otherwise you'd be in the other room and I'd be in a different room and we wouldn't be able to chat to each other. Jamie's commenting on my previous Parcel Force video, and yes, they most certainly did mess up. Totally. So I'm going to look at my chat notes so I do not forget anything. Okay, how can we possibly, in fact, I'm going to start it off straight away. How can we go any further without talking about the biggest news this week, the biggest royal news possibly of this year? It is only January. Princess Eugenie and Jack Brooksbank are officially engaged, and what a long time coming. Such a long time coming. In fact, I think it was 2016. I think I reported it on this channel when I almost kind of first started the channel, that there were rumours that they were going to get engaged. And I think the press and lots of things happening in the royal family kind of postponed it a little bit. But we got there in the end. We got an engagement announcement. The first news we heard of it was a tweet by Sarah, the Duchess, and Prince Andrew. They both tweeted and Sarah kind of tweeted quite sentimental photos of the couple, some with slogans on that some people felt were slightly weird, but I thought they were quite nice and sweet, really. A little bit cheesy, but they were nice and sweet. There was no harm in them. Then the royal family officially announced the engagement, and then we had an announcement, a release of official photographs, which looked amazing. We saw her ring. She was wearing her Erdem dress, which she's worn many times before. And then we got the TV interview. Now, it wasn't as long as William and Catherine's or Harry and Meghan's, but it was a little sweet interview where the couple looked very much in love, and she showed off her ring and they spoke about the ring and the engagement and the proposal. It was all very lovely, and they both do look very much in love. They're both quite giggly, and oh my goodness, how much does Jack Brooksbank look like Prince Andrew when Prince Andrew was younger? They are almost identical. So I'm just really happy for them. So the best of luck to Eugenie and Jack, and please leave your comments when this video goes on catch up to wish them a happy engagement, because who knows, they may be watching. Jamie says, I don't really care about Eugenie, but you're glad she's happy. But I don't really care. Well, I'm glad that you're glad she's happy. James Med4 says, what is the UK view on poor Fergie? They act like she killed someone. Forgiveness is needed. I think the general consensus is that she possibly embarrasses the royal family on a regular basis. And I think the consensus is that the royal family keep forgiving her and bringing her back into the fold, and then she'll do something else that's embarrassing. Personally, I don't have a problem with Sarah. I think she's okay. Yes, she's made some questionable decisions, but who hasn't in life? Perhaps she shouldn't keep making them so often, however, because even though she's not in the royal family, she's still in the public eye, and she's still got a very strong association to them. And living with Andrew, still being, still doing the co-parenting thing, almost kind of being a couple. Shall we say nod, nod, wink, wink. So yeah, I just think the general consensus of the public opinion is that she should perhaps stop embarrassing the royal family so much and so often. But I think people generally like her, even so that she embarrasses them, if that makes any kind of sense. So yeah, that's probably the general consensus. Nina says, I love Eugenie's ring. Now, I'm going to get this wrong, but it's a Padparajka. It's better when I'm reading it. A Padparajka sapphire, which I've never heard of that make of diamond before, sapphire before. I believe it's a color treated stone, and it reflects differently in different lights and kind of looks like it changes color. It's pink of color in the photographs, and it's very reminiscent of Sarah's ring. Being Sarah's ring was a Burmese ruby, I do believe, set with diamond in quite a spiky fashion around the ruby. So it's very, very similar, but it has its own style. And I made a video about all the different kind of recent royal engagement rings, including Pippa's. So I included Pippa's in there too, because Pippa's was quite a distinct style of its own. So please let me know what you think is your favourite engagement ring. Diamond Danae says, the Queen's uncle by marriage got an earldom, so I question if Jack will get the same. Well, yes, there is that. I mean, Zara's husband Mike didn't get an earldom. I know that's through the female line, and we're talking about through the male line. It's possible he may get an earldom, but I very much doubt it, because it doesn't really fit in with Charles's vision of a slimmed down monarchy. But it's not out of the question. It is through the male line, so it still could potentially happen. David Penn says, I'm living in Greater Chicago area and got news from ABC 7 Chicago television, and not once they mentioned Princess Eugenie's engagement. Oh no! In addition, ABC World News didn't mention it. Why the slight? I have no idea. You will have to tweet them and ask them, tell them that you want more royal news. If you're not getting royal news and you want it, tell them. They're going to report on kind of what you want to know. So tell them that you want more royal news. Shaffer says, we really want Eugenie to be happy. She's a lovely person, and her sister. Betsy says, love Sarah, gotta love her craziness. Lillian Rose says, yes, they are just gorgeous. Congratulations to Princess Eugenie and Mr. Brooksbank. All the very best for a very happy wedding day and marriage. Oh dear says, David Penner, why don't you watch BBC or CBC online and get news from outside the US, or just watch my channel? That would be really good. David says, I heard and read that Sarah won't be invited to the nuptials. I don't know where you read that from, but That is definitely not true. She is the mother of the bride, and she will be there. Shaffer says also, Harry must have a happy life with Meghan. He had a lot in his life, wish both a happy life. And Elton John this week commented on British TV in an interview about Meghan and Harry's relationship. Now, he didn't give any details. He wasn't. Elton John is a friend of Prince Harry, and of course was a friend of Diana, Princess of Wales, too. So, of course, he's very protective of Harry. And he just spoke briefly about his feelings on their love and relationship, and he wished them all the best for the wedding day. Of course, he potentially might be a guest. It's probably likely that he will be. We will see on the day. But I thought his comments were lovely and touching and really showed a genuine caring about the couple. And perhaps he looks upon Harry maybe a bit like an uncle, maybe. I mean, they definitely, I think, have contact. So I just thought it was really sweet and lovely. Odia says, hi all, late again, don't worry. Nina says, is Sarah still a duchess, even though divorced? She's not the duchess. She's duchess as a surname. So instead of being the Duchess of York, she is Sarah, Duchess of York. Duchess of York being kind of used as a surname. However, maybe some of you spotted, some of you eagle-eyed royal watchers out there, spotted that in the official announcement released by Buckingham Palace on the royal family Twitter, the communication addressed the couple, Andrew and Sarah, as the Duke and Duchess of York. Now, whether that was just a mistake or not, I don't know, but it certainly wasn't the correct protocol. It should have been the Duke of York and Sarah, Duchess of York. It shouldn't have been the Duke and Duchess of York. Whether that's hinting at something to come, who knows? We can speculate. But it certainly made me smile when I saw it. Okay. I need to go up and read some of the comments because I've got a little bit behind. Odia says, all the rings are gorgeous, too hard to choose. I think I quite like Eugenie's, actually. The first Mrs. R says, Sarah, Duchess of York, is like your uncle's crazy ex-wife. She's your cousin's mother and still sort of part of the family, and you love her, but she's still crazy. I think probably in a nutshell. But sweet crazy. David Penner says, oh dear, I got first-hand news on the CNN website. James Med 4 says, the ring is beautiful. I like the colour. Is it a sort of rose gold? To be honest, I think it's like a yellowy type rose gold, although the rose gold would go with the kind of pinky colour of the diamond. I'll have to have a closer look. Vinnie Blair says, Prince Edward is an earl. How could this fellow get an earldom? Well, of course, Edward is only an earl because he has a dukedom reserved for him, and that dukedom is not vacant. Because the dukedom that is reserved for him is the dukedom of Edinburgh, which of course is occupied currently by Prince Philip. So as soon as Prince Philip passes away, I know this is a subject we all love to talk about on this channel whenever any of the royals die. It's always a great sense of chat on this channel, and it really gets people going. But anyway, when Prince Philip does inevitably at some point pass on, that dukedom will go to Edward. So he won't be an earl anymore. He will be a royal duke. So an earldom for Jack Brooksbank would be appropriate, kind of. Of course, we know Princess Margaret's husband, Tony, did get an earldom. It's possible, but probably unlikely. Odia says, what brooch am I wearing today? It's the replica Australian wattle brooch, and I'm wearing it in honour of Australia Day. Sharon Huff says, I have a feeling I am behind on your videos somehow. And maybe you are. Do go check them out. They're all up there. You can always go and check them out at your leisure. Jamie says, the new outfit suits you better. The waistcoats and the boats is with it all go really well together. Thank you. And I've still got the crown brooch on. I didn't have time to take it out. I did a quick change. I've done lots of quick changes tonight with different brooches and different outfits. So yes, I've still got Ingrid's crown on underneath. and the Australian wattle on the top. So thank you so much. If you like the new outfit, and maybe on Patreon I might put a picture of the tails, because it's got tails on it. I like having tails. It's something to swish. I like having something to swish. David says Prince Philip would want to put Sarah on the guillotine if he could. I really hope not. I don't like the sight of blood. Jamie says the best Royal Reviewer outfit so far, in my opinion, and this was a bargain. I was out shopping today for clothes. And those of you on my other channel, do go check it out, Elliot Phillips Aspects of My Life. I made another rant video, 2 rant videos in a day. Yes, I made a rant video about not finding any clothes, but not Royal Reviewer clothes. I can find Royal Reviewer clothes quite easy, but this was a bargain. It's from Marks and Spencer's, and it's actually probably more like a wedding suit because it's got tails. I couldn't manage to get the trousers to go with it because it was in the sale. They didn't have any matching trousers in my size, but that's okay. I can team it with other things that I've got, so I'm fine with that. But the jacket was, I think it was originally £89 or something like that. I had it for £16. This was a bargain, a real bargain, and it's lovely inside. It's got nice, a nice lining. It's gorgeous. It comes with its own little pocket square, and it's got tails. I love it, and it's the right size as well. So yeah, my bargain coat. I love it. Jen says it's musical chairs. It was indeed. Lady Buckingham Dawn says I like the outfit too. Great for a royal wedding. Ingrid says indeed, Elliot has great style, and thank you again so much for the brooch, Ingrid. Donna Pate says yes, Elliot does have great style. Jen says, am I in the right chat? Yes, you are. You've made it to the right one. James Med 4 says, what colour will the Queen wear to the 2 weddings? Elliot, are you placing any bets? You have a good track record. Wow. Let me think. Well, the first wedding coming up is, of course, Harry and Meghan's. Now, I'm thinking the theme that's been suggested for Harry and Meghan's wedding is a white fairy tale wedding. Now, how true is that? We do not know. I mean, I am just literally going on speculation now. But if it is true that it's a kind of white wedding, like a really white traditional fairy tale-ish type wedding, the Queen could get away with kind of any colour. I'm thinking pink or maybe yellow. Yeah, maybe a pink. I'm thinking pink because pink would look quite nice and would certainly make her stand out. And as we know, the Queen always outshines the bride. The Queen should always outshine the bride, I think. Maybe she'll wear that. Maybe she'll wear that green screen color, that Ninja Turtle color. That would be quite funny. Nothing would outshine the Queen if she wore that big green screen color. Crikey. No, I'm thinking pink for Harry and Meghan, and of course, let me know your feelings too. And for Eugenies, I'm thinking, okay, shall we go blue? Blue. I'm going blue. Jamie says Sarah and Andrew are definitely going to get back together. Well, I don't know about definitely, and I don't think they ever were together, to be quite honest. So we'll have to just wait and see on that one. First Mrs. R says, I have a silly question. Do we know if Andrew and Sarah ever really got divorced? Yes, they did really get divorced, but I don't think they ever properly separated, really. Midnight Hazel says, hello, Elliot. Hello to you. Ingrid says, I'm still hoping Elliot will be invited to the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle wedding. Well, I hope so too. Now, I've just noticed, for those of you who watched my chat last week, I put my cup in the dishwasher and it's either faded or there's little bubbles. I can see little air bubbles that might be making it look cloudy. So I hope I haven't destroyed my cup. I think it's little air bubbles and hopefully they'll dry out. So I'm going to have to make sure that I don't put it in the dishwasher again. Okay. Nina says, in the interview, Andrew called her the Duchess. That's why I was wondering. Well, she is Sarah the Duchess, but she's not the Duchess of York. But the communications did list her as the Duchess of York. So whether, like I say, whether that was a slip, or whether it's heralding something to come, we can only speculate on that, I am afraid. Okay, I am just going up and finding some of the comments. Okay. Jamie says, death really brings out the best in everyone here. It does. It's a topic that everyone here seems to love. It's a fact. Dawn says, so will Sophie change to a Duchess also? Yes, she will. She will be the Duchess of Edinburgh. Odia says, Ingrid, highly unlikely Elliot will be invited to the wedding, but sure would like him to be there. It is indeed highly unlikely. But yes, I would like to be there too. Just putting it out there. Harry, if you're watching, send an invitation to my PO box, but don't use Parcel Force. Midnight Hazel says, was Catherine recently hospitalised, or is that fake news? Well, I've not heard of it, so I'm imagining that is fake news. Beware of the fake news. I feel like Donald Trump. Beware of the fake news, okay? Beware of the fake news. Oh dear says, saw your rant about clothes shopping. Must go look for the others after the chat. Please do. Ingrid says, what's the name of your other channel, Shopping for Clothes? It's Elliot Phillips, my name. Aspects of My Life. And there's various videos going back almost a year now. I think there's only about 8 videos. I don't upload on it that often, but I'm intending to upload more on it. Lily and Rose says, please may we see your tails. Well, I would show them, but I'm not wearing any correct trousers to go with it, because I'm sat down normally, so I don't normally show it off. But I can show it off in a photograph on Patreon or Twitter or something like that. I can assure you I am wearing clothes down below, but it's more my loungewear. I just put loungewear bottoms on so I can be comfortable. I am in my own home. So the top half is all smart and the bottom half is loungewear, shall we say. But then again, maybe I could show you. I don't know. Do you want to see it? And do you mind if I show you my lounge bottoms? If you don't mind, I might just stand up on the chair and show you. Possibly. Or I could stand over there, actually, rather than standing on a chair, because if I fell off live, that would not be good. Oh dear says, great deal on your new jacket. Good for you. Jamie says, £16. That was a steal. It was indeed. And Jamie says, you need to bring it back and apologise. Betsy says, please stand up and model it. Ingrid says, love your grey blazer and tails. Vinnie Blair says, and Sophie and Edward's son will become the Earl of Sussex, but nothing will change. No, Wessex. Sussex has been muted as a dukedom for Harry and Meghan. Meghan, rather. Did I say Meghan? Meghan. Christine says he's a dedicated follower of fashion by the Kings. Jamie thinks the Queen will wear red. Interesting choice. Vinnie Blair thinks purple or lilac. Ingrid says it's pretty amazing this will be Meghan Markle's 3rd marriage. Did you ever read the article in Town and Country magazine about royalty today? No, I haven't. And I thought it was a 2nd marriage. Was she married twice before? I thought it was a 1st, but maybe I've got my head all mixed up today. Jamie says, hey, leave Ninja Queen alone. She's my favourite. Christine says, you say blue. Ingrid thinks peach for Eugenie's wedding, same colour as her engagement ring. Could be. Definitely could be. Elaine Bins or Bines, I never quite know which one it is, says hello. Hello to you. And sends me a beautiful bow. Oh dear says, white for Meghan and Harry. That's a bit of a cheat considering their past histories. I'm not saying anything. Arnold Sanders said Meghan Markle was only married once. That's what I thought. Jamie says, I think Philip might not last till 2019. I hope he does. I really hope so. Ingrid says, I hope he gets at least to his 100th birthday. Come on. Go, Philip. You can do it. Ingrid says, do you think a royal would ever marry someone with no money? Yes. Yes, I think they would. I mean, if you think about it, Meghan Markle is independently wealthy, but she's not super rich, not compared to the royal family. And Catherine Middleton, as she was, her family are well-to-do millionaires. But again, they're not filthy, excessively rich. They aren't oligarchs or anything like that. They aren't oil magnates. So yes, I can't see a reason why not. And you know, a royal of Harry's magnitude or William's magnitude would have enough money for both, I think. Vinny Blair says this will not be a third marriage. I see this online often by people who do not like her, but it is not true. I thought not. I thought for a moment, is my head playing me up? But no, I did only think once. Lady Buckingham says you may be able to unscrew the top of your cup and open it, then you can dry it out. I hope so. I'll have to have a look later. Diamond Tanae says I hope Philip lasts a long time. I think we all do. Ingrid says, such as Eugenie marrying a man who worked as a bookseller or a shop worker. Yes, exactly. So, you know, I think those barriers have well and truly been broken down. Oh dear said, who died this week? Nobody, I hope. I mean, obviously some people did in the world, but nobody royal, I hope. Vinny Blair says, why not talk about the 14 exes of Harry and stop making up fake stories about Meghan Markle? Jen says, oh dear, another friend of mine passed away. Oh no. Oh no, not good for you. You've had a really bad time. And of course, I've had 3 family passings as well, so I know how you feel. Yeah. My condolences go out to you. Nina says, Harry has been a wild thing. He has indeed, but now he's tamed. James Medford says, is Eugenie's wedding date going to be after the Queen's Balmoral holiday? They're saying autumn. I presume so. I would have thought so, because the Queen is unlikely to travel back down from Balmoral only to go back up again. So yes, I would have thought autumn would mean possibly October. I'm thinking, but of course we'll have to wait and see. But I'm thinking October, or literally not long after the Queen has returned. Oh dear says Meghan Markle has been married once before, but dated lots of others like Harry. Ingrid says, that's too bad, Jen. Life is too short. We must make the most of it and appreciate each day and be ready for heaven. And Betsy says, yes, yes, yes. I think you mean yes to showing the tails. Christine says, tails and sweatpants. Yes, that's what I'm wearing. Holly Anderson says, hi, love your channel. Thank you so much. And lots of people saying that it's her second marriage, not her third. Jamie says they aren't oligarchs, but they don't live in a council house of the north side of Liverpool. Yes, that's kind of true. That's kind of exactly what I was saying. Okay, if you want to see the tails, I will do a quick swizz, but I am wearing lounge bottoms. I mean, they're kind of dark and grey. They do kind of go, but I like to be comfy in my lower half when I'm doing these live chats. Okay, here goes. Okay, do you like it, love? Do you like my tails? I can swish them, look. I can swish my tails around. Okay, what do you think? Do you like them? Do you like the outfit? There you go. I've shown them. My tails and my kind of grey tartan-esque bottoms. Let me know what you think. David Soriano says, have you seen the Windsors? Yes, and I hate it. It's horrible. I think it's got a different agenda. I think it's an anti-monarchist agenda, and I don't like it. Lily and Rose says, God bless Meghan for having the courage to give marriage another go. Well, of course, you know, sometimes you don't find the right person on the first go. I mean, that does raise whole other issues about people today jumping into marriage maybe a bit too prematurely. But if you can get there in the end, I think that is an amazing thing and an amazing achievement to be able to say that you've done. Holly Anderson says, let's celebrate and be grateful that Prince Harry is happy and in love. He so deserves this. H.A. Bracken says, I don't think Philip had a great deal of money when he married Elizabeth. No, he most certainly did not. Oh dear says, my ex-mother-in-law passed away this week. I have mixed feelings about it. Oh no, I mean, you're laughing. I hope that's not true, and I hope that's a joke. Let's go back up. Jamie says, maybe Harry might have a nude wedding. I think half the guests will throw up when the Queen and Philip arrive. Oh my goodness, no. We definitely do not want a nude wedding. Jamie says, weren't you saying she was coming for dinner? Well, maybe you wishful thinking. Oh dear is in favour of the nude wedding. And Loretta Heard says, hello, Elliot. I'm late. I've been watching a documentary on Lady Jane Grey. Is she acknowledged as the first Queen of England? Not so much. I mean, technically she was. I mean, she was queen for 9 days, but she wasn't anointed. She wasn't an anointed queen. And I'm not entirely sure how much of a difference that necessarily makes, but she certainly wasn't an anointed queen. So we could say that she's perhaps the first Queen of England, but not the first anointed queen. Oh no, and she wouldn't have been the first Queen of England anyway, would she? Because I think, wasn't Matilda, going back a long way, I'm thinking, was Matilda a queen first? I'll have to go back into my history books. But no, Lady Jane Grey is one of those ladies from history. And I think let's take away the queen element from Lady Jane Grey for a moment. She's one of those kind of mysterious characters in history that kind of slips through people's minds and consciousness quite a lot. I have read books on her and watched documentaries and did various things about her life, but I think she is one of those very misunderstood characters in history, and in particular female characters in history. And maybe I will make a video on her. In fact, I've always said that I want to do lots more videos about, you know, the different characters in the royal family, starting with the Windsors and working all the way through, and maybe going back to the Tudors as well, because Tudor history is one of my favourite royal periods. Nina says, no, they must wear clothes. We have already seen them nude. Well, we've seen Harry nude. There are photos if you go looking. Ingrid says, oh wow, that's a gorgeous coat. You never find anything like that here in the States. Holly Anderson says, love the colour of your tails. Thank you so much. I think it's a wedding tails actually, but it was on the sale rack. There was no trousers to go with it, and I just loved it. And it was £16, which is just amazing. It was, I think it had been, there was about 5 different reduction stickers on it, where it had gone from about 80 odd pound down to 16. So that was just amazing. I thought, I have to have it. James Medford says, your coat is quite nice. Is it a morning coat for a wedding? I do believe so. Betsy says, nice tails. Midnight Hazel says, I really do find it hard to believe that Meghan Markle didn't know who Harry was before they met. She's the one who said this, not fake news. No, she said she'd heard of him. If you go back and watch that interview, the engagement interview, she said she knew of him, but she didn't really know much about the family. Now, yes, you know, you could probably say that you may find that a little bit hard, but I think obviously she knew who the Queen was. She knew who Princess Diana was. She knew who Prince Charles was, who Harry and William were, and Catherine. But I don't think she knew details. I certainly don't think she was a royal watcher like we are, and I think that's probably what she meant. Oh dear says, tails and plaid. Channeling Prince Edward at Christmas. Yes, I am. That's exactly what it is. But I don't have the velour slippers. In his Hugh Hefner smoking jacket and bedroom slippers. And I'm still looking for those slippers. I want them. Vinnie Blair says, Meghan Markle married and lived with her chef. And we know of no other man in her life. Stop with the stories. She did not date in college, started dating Trevor at 23 after graduation and was with him for 9 years. So there you go. Diamond Janae, Elliot, you are stunningly fashionable. Well, even with a tailcoat and sweatpants. Amy says, James Metaphor, yes, it's a morning coat. First Mrs. R says, very posh. Lady Buckingham says, I found the Windsors last night and watched 10 minutes of it and turned it off. It's awful. It is indeed. It was just dreadful. I do not watch it. I do love The Crown and I do love Victoria as well. David Soriano says, you pronounce my last name right. No one can pronounce it right. Well, I did, and I'm hoping I just did it right again, because I may have said it differently the second time. I don't know. There we go. Maybe I should... Actually, it's an Italian name, but I was always very good at Spanish. And I know that they're completely different languages. I'm not saying they are. But it's that kind of Mediterranean flair, I suppose. Maybe I'm good at Mediterranean flair. Ingrid says, do you ever go out for high tea? There are places to go where I live, but I don't really think people necessarily go out for high tea in their hometown. I do like to go out if ever I'm, off somewhere, for example, on a trip or something, and there's a high tea, then I do like to go. And it's always nice and it's a nice treat. But I don't think people generally do it round about where they live, although we do have some nice places where I'm from to do it. Okay, I'm just replenishing my fluids. Vinny Blair says, is it okay to not like Meghan Markle, but it's not okay to make up fake stories about her? Lies will not change Harry's mind. Exactly, I do concur. James Medford says Lady Jane was queen by a coup and treason. Yes, but of course, let's not forget that Edward did change his will to make Lady Jane the queen. So that's how she inherited, and of course that was kind of a coup and treason, but it wasn't treason because it was declared by Edward. So there's lots of kind of hullabaloo around Lady Jane's accession, and of course Mary's kind of taking back of the crown, which is of course a very interesting part of history. Jamie says, yes, Matilda, but she was disputed as well and fought a war for succession from France and lost in the end. And I like the name Matilda. It's not just a machine from Robot Wars. I do like Matilda. And not just a character from the Roald Dahl book either. Country Girl says, I love the outfit. Thank you so much. Jen says, once a person gets a divorce, it's going to be keeping doing it. I'm not so sure. Sometimes it can take a few goes, a few kisses of a frog before you get your prince. And she's definitely kissed a frog and now got a prince. Ingrid says, yes, Tudor history is simply fascinating. I have so many books on Tudor history. Okay, I'm just going up. Okay. The first Mrs. R says, and Maud, the Maid of Norway. James Medford says, there is a movie starring Helena Bonham Carter called Lady Grey. Or Lady Jane Grey. Or Lady Jane, rather. Midnight Hazel says, maybe it's an omen that you've found wedding wear. I did. I'm just fluffing my tails now so I don't squash them. I don't want to sit on my tails. There we go. The first Mrs. R says, Lady Jane was a pawn who lost her life because of others' agendas. That is true entirely. Holly Anderson says, why do people have to be negative about Harry and Meghan? They make an adorable couple and will represent the royal family so well. I agree. I think they will. And they've already shown in the engagements that they've done that they are a force to be reckoned with. And long may that continue. C. Lyle says, good afternoon. Hello to you. And welcome to the chat. James Medford says, I need a top hat and I'm all set for Royal Ascot. Do you know what? The funny thing is, a few years ago, I did see a top hat. They had one in red and they had one in black. And they were a really good price. And I didn't buy one. And I've always regretted not buying one. So maybe the next time I see one, I will have to just go for it and buy a top hat. That would be really good to wear for an Ascot type event or a wedding event. And of course, I could wear this jacket for any videos I make around the royal wedding time. Okay, Princess Anne is divorced, and this year is her 25th anniversary of her second marriage. Second marriages last all the time, says Vinny Blair. Like I said, you know, sometimes you have to kiss a few frogs before you find your prince. Jen says, my sister was married once, then divorced, then got married again, then divorced, then got married again. She must like the taste of wedding cake. Jamie says, Matilda was never formally declared Queen of England and was instead titled Lady of the English. I love that title, Lady of the English. That's a fabulous title. I love that one. Ingrid says, Vinny and Jen, there are all different circumstances. There are indeed. Rebecca Hurd says, are the descendants of the Northumberland still prevalent in England today, like the Somersets? Yes, we still have a Duke of Northumberland. I'm not so sure about the Somersets. I haven't necessarily heard of high-profile Somersets, but I would imagine the title does still live on. But we definitely have Northumberlands. Okay, let me go back up because I've missed a few comments. Okay. Ingrid, I'm going to skip through a few so I can kind of catch up a bit. Ingrid says, it seems like Sophie is one of the Queen's favourites. Yes, because they live very close when they're at Windsor. And I think they do have quite a lot to do with the Queen. Okay, Ingrid says, I predict a baby for them will happen immediately as Meghan Markle is already 36. I don't think it will be long before Meghan Markle falls pregnant. And Jamie says, Mary was the first, nobody doubts it, Queen. I would probably have to agree. I think Mary probably was definitely the first Queen, but Lady Jane Grey was technically the first Queen, but not anointed. Okay, can we give Lady Jane Grey first Queen, but not anointed, and Mary was the first anointed Queen? Shall we say that? Diamond Dene says, Elliot, did you get a response from the rest of the royals? No, not yet. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for more royal post. As soon as I get them, I will save them and open them in a video. Ingrid says, Elliot, you should always dress in unique and creative duds. Love that. Thank you so much. Ingrid is thinking of writing the Queen a letter. Don't think about it. Just do it. Just go ahead and do it, and you will always get a response. Yes, mine are taking a lot longer this time, but I do expect to get them. I definitely do. I definitely think they will be coming soon, I hope. Jens, Odia says, second marriages are often better. I have had a starter husband myself and traded up. Well, there you go. Ingrid says, Elliot, can you clarify how the Queen is related to Queen Victoria? Okay, let's get counting. And I may need some help on this one. So let me see how many greats we can go by. So there's the Queen. Queen Mary is her grandmother. Oh, is it great grandmother? Is it 5 greats? I've just tallied up in my head. Jamie, please check on, can someone do a Wikipedia check? I'm thinking it's either 4 or 5 greats. Let me know. I'm trying to backtrack in my head through the family tree, and I'm thinking 5 greats. Great. It's either 4 or 5 greats, I think, possibly. Odia says, Ingrid, do hope you get a response, and if you do, please let us know as well. C. Lyle says, I love your brooch unboxing vlogs. I love the one on your lapel, quite beautiful. It's the Australian wattle, a replica of the Queen's. And underneath, I have one that Ingrid sent me tonight, and I absolutely love it. It's a diamante crown, and I love it. So thank you to Ingrid. Jamie says, you can't say Jane was queen. Really, the sovereign gets it right to rule from God, and Jane wasn't anointed. Okay. But then again, I suppose Edward the VIII wasn't anointed either. Just saying. But if we're only counting anointed monarchs, then yes, most definitely Mary was indeed the first. Jamie says, great-grandmother. Of course, because I forgot grandmother. So that would make the 4. Yes, great-grandmother. It was 4. Linda P. Golden says, hi, Elliot. Are you sending congratulatory cards to Sarah, Andrew, or Eugenie? Yes, I think I will, but I haven't yet. I may have to do another Moonpig special. Vinnie Blair says, Elliot, apparently there are dukedoms reserved for the second sons of the most suitable one available for a second son is Sussex. All the others available ones are lower in status. It's definitely 100% been reserved as the dukedom of Edinburgh. I think it was a special request from Edward to inherit his father's title. So even though it may be traditional to take on Sussex. He didn't want Sussex as anything else. He wanted Wessex, and he definitely wants Edinburgh. In fact, I think it was even almost officially announced that Edinburgh has been reserved. But I can't remember where I've seen it. David Soriano says, should my brother use Mr. as his title in a letter, or would it be anything else? It depends what your brother is. If he's a Mr., he should use Mr. Okay, History Hardy says it's great Queen Alexandra and Victoria. And then Ilma Barr says Victoria, Edward, George V, George VI, Elizabeth. Diamond Dene says the Queen is Queen Victoria's great-great-granddaughter, as is Philip. Yes, because they are related through Queen Victoria, through that line. Unprotected Edge Sign says, we mate, go spend 20 quid and get some Nando's. As much as I love Nando's, I'm not going to get some now. Most definitely not. Do you know what? I really wish I had one of those photographic minds, because I was trying to picture the royal family tree and trying to go back up it. But I don't have a photographic mind, and I really wish I did. Somewhere in my head, things tell me things, and facts and things that I've read kind of pop to the front. But I really wish I had one of those photographic minds. Does anyone here have a photographic mind? Let me know. And tell me how you do it. I wish I had one. Holly Anderson says, what are Nando's? Don't you have them in different countries? Nando's is a fast food restaurant that specializes in chicken, but not like KFC. More like, I don't know, how would you describe Nando's? I'm not quite sure. Betsy says, have I done my family tree? Well, I haven't done it. Someone else did it. But on my mother's side, the family tree has been done back to the early 1700s. So I've got one half back to the 1700s. Diamond Day says, Nando's in the UK. Yes, we have Nando's in the UK. Odia says, photographic mind. Me, not a hope. Had to rely on memorization for exams. I'm a little bit that way too. Jamie says, Nando's is a fancy McDonald's. No, it's like chicken with like spicy hot sauces and like English chips, which are like fries but fatter, shall we say, and salads and that kind of thing, and like pita wraps with chicken and all kinds of different things. But that's Nando's. Google Nando's and you'll be able to see all the photos. Dawn says, why could Philip not use the title of Prince, being a descendant of Queen Victoria? He was a Prince of Greece, but stripped of that title, but then given the title back by the Queen, because he didn't have a British title that he was descended from through his line. So his title was Prince of Greece. He renounced that, obviously, after all the deposition that happened with the Greek royalty. And then, of course, when he came to this country and he was going to marry the Queen, he had to be kind of nationalized. So he lost that title, became a Mountbatten, and then obviously became the Duke of Edinburgh upon marriage, and eventually a Prince of the United Kingdom, which kind of gave him back his princely status, I suppose. Ilma Barr says, we have Nando's in Toronto. And Holly Anderson says, maybe like Chick-fil-A. We don't have Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, but I remember that was the one that had all the hoo-ha about it. Vinny Blair says, no, I'm talking about second son Harry, not Edward. I know he will get Philip's dukedom. I'm talking about Harry. Yes, Harry's dukedom is set to be Sussex. Yes, you are quite right. I thought you were talking about Edward. Yes, you are totally right. The one reserved for Harry is indeed Sussex. We think. Nothing official, but we think. Donna Page says, I have a photographic memory. It started in 2nd grade, but I wish mine would start now. C. Lyle says, have I ever had a supernatural experience? No. And I live in a house that was built in 1850. So no, I have not had any supernatural experience. Midnight Hazel says, I thought Nando's was another word for trousers. No, it's chicken. And I'm not wearing chicken on my legs. Okay, going up. The first Mrs. R says, in the news this week, they said that Beatrice had a boyfriend for 10 years who broke up with her and got engaged to someone else. Yes, he did. About a year later. Is that true or more fake? No, true news. True news. That news is true. Most definitely true. Yeah, that's what happened. Poor Beatrice. Most definitely. And if ever I want to be royal, I think Beatrice is my last hope. But no, I wouldn't marry someone just for a title. Loretta Hurd says, are you a descendant of royals like Lady Diana and Sarah? If someone can do my family tree and find that out, I will be ecstatically happy. But as far as I'm aware, no. But I hope so. Somewhere. In some distant relative, maybe. Eileen Sandu says, you look very smart tonight. Thank you so much. Deborah says, is Nando's more like Asian cuisine? No. No, it's more... Oh, I don't know. How would you describe Nando's? Google it. Google Nando's. Nando's is so hard to explain. You're going to have to Google it and then do images, and you will see pictures of, hopefully, type in Nando's food, and you will get pictures of the food. Midnight Hazel says, because I was talking about my new tails. Oh dear says, supernatural experience only when tipsy. Ingrid says, I find it interesting how Prince Philip's last name was Mountbatten, and I think only their two sons, Andrew and Edward, have in their last name Mountbatten Windsor. Well, it was eventually decided upon that the descendants of the Queen and Prince Philip would bear the surname Mountbatten Windsor. And I think it said male line. I'm sure it said the male line descendants would have Mountbatten Windsor. Although I think one of the first children to bear that title wasn't the Queen's own children. I do believe it was Lady Louise Windsor. There you go. Oh my goodness, how did I forget that? Okay, Lady Louise Windsor, I do believe, was the first of the Queen's descendants to bear the title Mountbatten Windsor, even though she isn't male, but it's from the male line. So I think that's probably the reason as to why. Yes. So I don't think it was the Queen's children. It was started with the grandchildren. I do believe that Lady Louise was the first. Unprotected Edge Sign says, I'm not even European. I just tried to say the most British thing I could think of. Okay. James Made 4 says, Philip also renounced his father who left his mother for a mistress. Loretta Hearn says, you do have a title. You are the Royal Reviewer. Thank you so much. I think I've missed a few questions, so I'm just going to go back up to. Odia says, Mountbatten is a made-up name for Philip from the Mountbatten line. Yes, because it's a British version of Battenberg. So Battenberg is Mountbatten. Suck My Cock says, what are my thoughts on cannabis, otherwise known in brackets as skunk? My thoughts on it are that it should remain an illegal substance within the UK. And there you go. I do have reasons behind that, but this is not the forum to discuss that in. But yes, my thoughts are it should retain its illegal status and category. Jamie says, Philip's lucky half, his family's died. They could have embraced him. I mean, Philip, I think, found a protector in Louis Mountbatten. And I think when he passed away, it would have really, really hurt. Maybe even more so than his own parents, perhaps. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. I mean, Charles most certainly looked at Louis Mountbatten, if not as a grandfather, but as a really dear kind of uncle figure, but certainly almost a parental figure, I think, in his childhood. And his death would have most certainly hurt Charles and Philip immensely. And C. Lyle says, "You are royal to me." Thank you so much. James Mentor says, "In the USA, the series Victoria has shown 4 episodes." And yes, she does call one of her Uncle Sussex. Jamie says, "A friend of mine is a direct descendant of Edward II. No kidding. Wow. That would be amazing to know that." Vinnie Blair says, "Not only did he break up with Beatrice after 10 years, he was engaged within 6 months." Yes. Okay. And I'm just going down the comments. Let's go back up. Jamie says, "Louise Alice Elizabeth Mary Mountbatten Windsor, but her title is Lady Louise Windsor, even though she's technically entitled to be a princess, technically." Okay, I think I finally reached the bottom of the comments. Wow, that's really, really good. Jamie said, "Did I know that Boris Johnson is descended from George II? No, I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't surprise me. You know, those kind of elite families that are in power do have descendants going back generations, so it most definitely does not surprise me. And I also should mention this week that a happy Burns Night for everyone who celebrated Burns Night, and please do go and watch the video of Charles reading the poem "My Heart's in the Highlands," which I'm sure for Charles is a very true sentiment. Princess Anne had a very, very, very busy day when she visited West Yorkshire, so do go and check out that video. And there's some really good photographs of her standing next to this kind of racing car, and I forget the make of the car, but it was Gilletta cars, and this car looks like it just looks really, really fast. I can imagine her behind the wheel, shall we say. We spoke about Elton John's touching message to kind of Harry and Meghan, and speaking about their wedding. So that's everything that I've got to speak about for our live chat this week. So I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to say thank you if you've joined me for all 3 of my sections of live chat this week. If you add up all the time, we have been on for quite a long time. So I'm going to let you all go now, but I will promise, I most definitely promise, to be here next week, same time, 10 o'clock as always, every Saturday. That's 10 o'clock GMT time. Be there or be square. So yes, thank you for watching. I hope you've all had a very voluptuous week. I hope you're going to have a very voluptuous week. And from me here in Shropshire, goodbye.